I competed in what was genuinely one of the craziest tournaments I have ever been to. There is going to be things that you have never seen in Beyblade X. If you've been following my journey, you will know I've been competing in the UK's national circuit, which is a countrywide competition. They have two different types of tournament setups. One is the National Store Championship, where bladers compete to get points onto a leaderboard. At the end of the year, a top cut of the leaderboard gets invited to the national competition, where the best bladers in the country will compete up against each other. I am currently sitting in the top 5 of the national leaderboard. But in today's video, it is a national qualifier where the top 4 get an automatic invite to that national competition at the end of the year, as well as a lot more points on the leaderboard. So this is one I definitely want to win. This event was at Nottingham at Underworld Games. First time I've ever been to Nottingham for Beyblade. The event was 65 people. It was a really awesome venue. The organisers were really cool. I've met them before. So I was really looking forward to this one. Let's hop into my deck selection, get into that crazy tournament footage. Right, so for today's deck, I've got Aero Pegasus on 760 level. I've got Hover Wyvern on a 960 kick. Wizard Rod on a 160 hexa. Shark Scale 360 low rush. And the new boy, Glock Mirage 455 a low orb. Let's see how I get on. And if you want any of these bays or some of the new ones like Meteor Dragoon, make sure to head up to Mauler Toys and use the discount code BeyMaC to get 5% off your order. So into round 1, this is a national circuit, so the format is a little bit different. You bring 5 bays up to the table, you show your opponent your 5 bays, then you look at their 5 bays, and from that you can decide which 3 that you are going to use in that matchup. So obviously there is no repeating parts within the 3 that you choose, but you can have repeating parts within the 5 overall. So with this one, I think they had a little bit more stamina, so I probably should have chose Clock, but I didn't. I put Hover out first, and that is a brand new Raw Tyranno 960, and it burst. So a super unfortunate start. If you've watched my videos, you will know how much I absolutely hate losing the first game, so hopefully I don't. So I've got my Aero Pegasus 760 level out up against a Wizard Rod Hexa, I believe, so not an ideal matchup. Or it might have been on a ball, I can't actually remember. But yeah, I didn't get that early smash, so Aero Pegasus is going to fizzle out, and Rod does what Rod does. I'm 3-0 down, so not looking very good. But now it's my turn for Rod up against a Blast. I think it was on 3 and a free ball, so again a lot of stamina. Rod Hexa does big things usually, so hopefully I still get an outspin, but up against a free ball is definitely not confirmed. It does look super nice, this Pegasus Blast, with all of the blue matching. I wonder if it was 660 as well, but it looks super nice. I know it looks like a 960, but I do get the outspin there. Up again against a Rod, and I get boomed into a pocket, so I lose game 1, which is super annoying. I hate losing game 1, so I am going to be fighting for the rest of the day. Into game 2, I'm starting off with my Shark Scale. I am up against a full dinosaur deck. Now this was a bit weird, I missed some of the footage, but I think it was a 1 point because of, I don't know, missed launch or shroud or something, but they got a warning, lost 1 point. Then I get a pocket, so I'm 3-0 up at this point. Rod out to clean up this last point, but it gets extremed. I've not really been liking Wizard Rod Hexa lately, considering dropping it out of my deck. Then out comes Clock Mirage for the first time of the day. This is where it excels. It sweeps up those last things. Clock Mirage is so good. There is definitely a lot of skill to it. There's a high chance that it's going to burst, but if you can tilt launch and protect that ratchet, it is one of the best in the game. I'm actually really enjoying using it. I find it quite a challenge, but also quite fun to use, and it does look awesome. I really like the look of it. So end game, Clock takes the win, and I am 1-1 overall in this tournament. Then we're going into game 3. Leading out with my Wizard Rod up against a Wizard Rod on Ball. So the Ball combo is definitely not dead, especially in these mirror matches. Hexer hasn't got much of a chance up against Rod on Ball. But I try to launch it a bit more crazy, try to get them to move around a bit more, but with Hexer it ended up being my downfall, as it made me move around a lot as well. And I lose out on that first point. And then I've got my Hover Wyvern, so clean, and it jumps out of the pocket. Their Shark is hanging on in there, and I do lose to the spin. Jumping in that pocket took all the stamina out of me. I'm losing 2-0 now. Out comes Shot Scale, so good, so consistent. Tilted hard, trying to hit the lower part of CX, and it worked out because the ratchet burst, and I pull it back to 2-2. Out comes Shark again, up against that Wizard Rod Ball, again tilting hard, trying to get a burst, but I get the extreme, and I'm 2-1 in this tournament overall. So it's definitely still on. This is 6 rounds of Swiss. Into my 4th match. It is a Shark mirror, but I think they're on level, whereas I'm on low rush, but had some awkward hits into the rail, which is killing some of my stamina. Level does have a good life after death as well, so not an ideal matchup. And I do lose that first point. So this opponent's deck was quite stamina heavy, I believe, with again another Rod Ball, or it could have been Free Ball, one of the two, or it could have been Low Orb. Up against my Rod Hexer. To be honest, I probably should have left Rod Hexer out for this one. Maybe gone for more attacking and try and ratchet snipe a bit more, but I went for Rod, and in this mirror match it does not perform overly well. And then, because my opponent was using a stamina heavy deck, I've got Clock Mirage out up against the Pegasus Blast. I've heavy tilted to try and protect the ratchet, which it worked out perfectly, but I got into a tilt that is so hard to recover from. Low Orb, although it is amazing because you need that decreased height on Clock Mirage, it isn't the most stable. So when Clock gets into these, it finds it hard to stand back up, and ultimately that is my downfall in this match, and I do get outspun. But on the reshuffle, I go for Clock again because I thought they'd be chasing that 1 point. Again, launching hard. I was launching quite soft as well, because you don't need to launch hard with Clock because it will outspin pretty much anything. So launch it soft to protect the ratchet. This time I do manage to stand up, so the tilt doesn't kill me at this point. It's definitely a risk Clock. I do love it, but it's feast or famine. But I do get the point on this one, so I survived that. And then it is again that Rod matchup, and I get extremed before they get pocketed. So I'm 2-2 overall, which in 6 rounds of Swiss is a bit sketchy. I essentially have to win every single game, and I've got to win them pretty well. I'm also relying on my opponents that I've previously faced doing well in the competition to push my Bushels up. I've got my Aeropegasus up against a Wizard Arc. stamina variant. I think it might have been stock 455 low orb by the look of it. Then I'm up against a hover wyvern with my hover wyvern. And I get myself flicked into a pocket, doesn't escape the pocket. Shark scale out up against a courage dram, or dram brave, depending how you want to call it. But shark scale's too low, managing to get those important hits on dram brave. And then Aeropegasus up against their hover wyvern on the reshuffle. Nearly jumped into the extreme myself, so I got quite fortunate there. Aeropegasus managing to tank these hits pretty darn well. And I get the point for that one. Level doing well on Aeropegasus. And then last out is my shark scale up against that wizard arc. And it manages to destabilize and hang on. So I'm 3-2 overall. This is all or nothing here. I need to win to have any sort of chance of getting into top cut, which is top 16, because this was 65 players. It was a top 16 top cut. I know that there are a lot of 4-2s going through, but there's also a lot of 4-2s that won't go through. So I need to do well in this one, and I lose the first one to an outspin. Rod coming out again. I'll be honest, Rod has been rubbish. It did jump out that pocket, which was lovely. It hopefully should get the outspin on this hover wyvern with that Hexa, but I actually hated Wizard Rod this day. Does get the outspin there though, so can't complain too much. And I do put it out again. I predicted he would choose that blast, so I just wanted something to tank it a bit better. And it does what I need it to do. It gets that point. Out comes Shark up against the Shark again. Boomed it into a pocket, but then I get boomed into a pocket. Crazy match. And I've got my hover wyvern. I absolutely love this hover wyvern. It looks so clean, and it gets me the pocket, and I am 4-2 overall.
Top 16 players. The top 16 players will be going to a single elimination finals.
Damn.
Right. Number 16. It's the one. It's the only. It's the NordVPN sponsorship. It's BeyMaC. Just getting in there with a 4-2. Well done.
So yeah, made it into the top 16 by the skin of my teeth. I came in 16th place. I just about made it. It was crazy close. It looks like it came down to tiebreakers, but yeah, insane. I don't know how I got through, but I'm through to the final. So into Top Cut we go. I'm up against the Swiss King, who went 6-0. I forgot to press record. I did get a pocket finish for the first one, so you missed that, but it started off well anyway. My hover wyvern out up against the shark scale. This is one of the most explosive matchups in the game. It can go either way. Saying that though, this one went a bit tame after some initial big hits. And I do lose out to the spin finish, so 2-1 at this point. Out comes my golden rod, who's been rubbish all day, up against, I believe it's another rod ball. There was quite a few rod balls rather than Hexa. It's interesting because in my local scene, you never see rod ball, like ever. Whereas here, I didn't really know the meta in this area, and it's definitely different than what I thought it would be. And Rod Hexer just hasn't stood up to the test today, I don't think, too well. And I do lose the outspin on this one.
Get ready, Bladers. Just before we continue, that 2 levels.
I am so sorry it is.
This was really unfortunate for the Swiss King. I felt really bad for the guy, but with the National Circuit's rules, if you do have a double or repeating part, it is an automatic disqualification from that round. And because it's single elimination, that was the end of his day and I got to move on. Definitely unfortunate, not the way I would want to win. It did feel like a bit of a hollow victory, but I'm gunning for that top 4 position, so I have to take that. So moving on to the quarterfinals, I guess it is. This is actually against the opponent that I lost to earlier, where I had clock out. I didn't make this same mistake. I didn't use clock, but I did put aero in and it burst, so I may as well have used clock. Really, in this game, I was trying to ratchet snipe and get the bursts. Shark doing big work and getting a extreme. Hover out next up against that rod ball, and my plan worked out because I did manage to get the burst on the opponent rather than trying to get that outspin. My shark goes into the pocket, jumping around, and then my opponent actually grabbed their bay before my bay had stopped spinning. So instead of me losing the 2 points, I did actually gain 1 point, which is super unfortunate for my opponent, but yeah. And then my shark does what I need it to as well. It gets the burst. So I move on to the semi-finals. I've actually done it. I have got a top 4 position. I have won my ticket to the national competitive circuit. So anything that happens now doesn't really matter too much, but I'd still like to win. Get a good start with a pocket there in the semi-finals. My shark up against Tyrannobeat. You don't see Tyrannobeat too much these days. They had quite an interesting deck, my opponent. They had Silver Wolf on a kick. Tyrannobeat, again, you don't see it all that often. 3-0 up, so it's looking very, very good. My rod up against that wolf on kick. And it manages to avoid any of those big hits. I've been up against Silver Wolf as an attacker before, and it's usually done pretty darn well. But yeah, 4-0 up, I'm absolutely smashing this. I went for the instant. I did it last time, and that's where, on the first game, and that's where I got the pocket, so I tried it again. This time I didn't get as much luck, and that rod build is looking like it's going to take the point here. And then out comes my shark scale. I went for interesting launch tech this time, and I get the extreme, and this should be the end of the game. Damn. So if we flash back to my round 1 game where I pocketed their rod, when I removed my bay, the judge moved the slider for the points, and as I put my bay back into the deck box, I accidentally hit my own slider and moved it back 1 point. Just zoom in here. Yeah, this is my fault. This is so unfortunate. So yeah, super unfortunate. I accidentally knocked back the point slider with my sleeve when I was putting my bay back into the deck box. It happens. It was unfortunate. It was my fault. I should have been a bit more careful. Obviously, I was a bit nervous. It was finals. I wasn't really thinking, but yeah, super unfortunate. I don't blame anyone. It wasn't the judge's fault. That I was the one that knocked back the slider. So I should have been keeping count of my scores, really, and I should have known at that point. But yeah, that's how it goes. Let's hop back into the rest of the match to see how it went. All I need really is 1 point to secure the win, and even though I had technically already won at that point, but yeah, is what it is. It's Beyblade, crazy things happen. I'm not blaming anyone. It wasn't the judge's fault. It was more my fault for knocking back the slider. So let's hop back into the match and see how it finished. So back into the match, and even though technically it's 7-1, I think at this point we think it's 6-1. That's what the sliders say anyway. Before I unfortunately knocked back 1 point, took 1 point off myself, which is very, very annoying, but it is what it is. Really, I should be able to get 1 more point. I was lucky to get out of the extreme on this one, so at that point I was I didn't really mind if I lose 1 point. It took a heck of a lot of stamina out of me jumping out of that extreme, so losing 1 point of this one isn't too bad.
Oh my god, this is why I spend 11 hours today doing work. Oh, there we go. Wolf kicking into action.
And I do lose that point, so still gunning for that 1 point. Out comes Rod again, because on the reshuffle I just wanted to get that 1 point, but it gets pocketed, so it did not work out. Out comes Shark up against a Rod Hexer. Getting some massive hits on it, but not doing enough to get that pocket. And I do lose another point. And then Tirana beat up against Shark, and I go in the extreme and I lose this match, even though I technically won, but it is what it is. And into the battle for 3rd and 4th. I think I missed some of the footage as well. I got a burst here, and then my camera just ran out of battery, so someone else was recording at the point. This was at 6-6, so whoever gets this next point gets 3rd. Whoever loses obviously gets 4th, but no matter what, all of us have got an invite to the national competition, and I did lose that one, but yeah, I got 4th place, so pretty happy. Well, that's it from me. That was the wildest tournament I'd ever gone to. Barely scraped top cut. I did not think I was going to get into top cut. The finals, first round was a disqualification. Second round, someone picked up their bay while it was still in the pocket. Spinning. Semi-finals. The unfortunate slider movement where I should have gone into the finals. But that's Beyblade. That's what makes it exciting. That's what makes it fun. Crazy, crazy day. And I'm super happy to have got my automatic invite to the national finals. I'm secure now. I think technically I might be #1 in the UK on the leaderboard as well, because with the win in top 4, I get 10 points. So that should boost me up to 1st place in the country. But waiting for the leaderboard to update, and I'll let everyone know. Could be UK #1, which is crazy. But yeah. Drop a like, drop a subscribe, drop a comment. This one was absolutely insane. That's it from me. BeyMaC out.